SoundCartel.
From SoundCartel, I'm Nicole Goodman, and this is Business Essentials Daily. The trend of influencer marketing really started bearing fruit around 2015-2016. In the search for more authentic, relatable brands, consumers became glued to Instagram and YouTube, following and engaging with celebrities in a more personal way than they'd ever been able to before. Brands, of course, noticed and monetised the trend. Not just for traditional celebs, but normal people like you and I, who managed to develop millions of followers through their own unique series of user-generated content. Today, brands are paying some of these influencers top dollar to promote their product or services because they've already established a highly engaged and captive audience. And of course, TikTok's arrival on the scene has sent influencer marketing into overdrive. Now, buyer beware. It's not all quirky videos and barrels of cash. Things can and do go wrong. So you need to really consider if this strategy is right for your business. Chris Ashmore begins his search for answers by talking to Heather Maloney, founder and CEO of Contact Point. She's helped many of her clients navigate influencer marketing and tells Chris whether the rise of the influencer is a reflection on how marketing has changed.
Absolutely, it has. I must say, though, that word of mouth is still alive and well, along with networking at conferences and the like. But aside from that, the way businesses promote their products and services has fundamentally changed. So whilst there's still a lot of push marketing, so that's pushing your message in front of people via digital ad spaces such as in amongst search results, banner ads at the tops and sides of websites and inside email messages, inbound marketing has become the most important, and that's being able to be found when people want your product or service or need to solve a problem. That is, when they don't know what product they need, they have a problem and they just want to try and find a solution to that problem. So on the internet, that's achieved through SEO, so that's organic listings, or paid listings, pay-per-click, ads in Google and the like. And you can also advertise in social media platforms. Facebook is very popular for having paid posts as well as placing digital ads. But if we build upon offline word of mouth, influencer marketing combines the power of personal referral and digital technology to very large groups of people following the influencers. So to make online word of mouth incredibly powerful and persuasive, all of those things come together, and that's really the way we're seeing businesses change in their marketing. So influencers are popping up all over the place, but are mostly known at the moment on YouTube, Instagram and TikTok, but every social platform is a candidate.
Well, if we dive deeper into influencer marketing, Heather, what is it exactly?
Influencers are people who have influence. People listen to what they say, recommend, like or don't like in a particular area of knowledge. So influencer marketing is specifically setting out to have your product or service recommended by appropriate influencers for the purpose of sales or leads or building your own following. This usually involves payment to those influencers.
And those influencers, they can make a hell of a lot of money, can't they?
Yeah, absolutely they can. Of course, the more popular a particular influencer is, that is, the bigger their following, the more you'll need to pay for the influencer to talk about your product or service, and therefore the more they're making. So it's kind of this, the more they make, the more they make. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. And has influencer marketing changed in recent years? What's the current state now?
So influencer marketing has become more popular as a vocation. So more people are trying to be an influencer than ever. Influencers, to be successful, have to have a large following, and to do that, they have to have compelling content and stand out. And the content being created by influencers is becoming more and more professional. So to be someone that people want to follow, they need to produce high quality content. That means better cameras, better sound equipment, better lighting, and so on. And they often have teams that spend hours editing video footage and sound footage as well. To support the role of influencers, a new group of service providers has formed. That is the managers of influencers, who act as the middle person to help negotiate and get the highest payment and best terms possible for the influencer. And also there are platforms where influencers can register and people can try to engage an influencer, post about their job and allow influencers to apply for the gig. So yes, a lot has changed. It's become a big area.
If an influencer is making a lot of money, I would assume that it would cost a lot of money to use an influencer. Would that be right?
It certainly can. So again, the cost depends on the size of the influencer's following. It depends on how many posts you want them to do about you, whether you're also providing them with your product as a sample and how valuable that product is to them. And also it depends on the negotiation with their manager.
What types of influencer marketing are there?
There are many different ways you can employ influencers to promote your products or services. So just a few examples: giveaways and prizes. So you can have an influencer give your product away as a prize. Gifts, unboxing, reviews. So that involves sending your products to the influencer and asking them to use it, demonstrate it, unbox it, talk about it, basically. There's also a concept of social media takeover, where the influencer actually speaks directly from your social media account about their experience of your product or service. So you need to have a large following in your own social media in order for that to be beneficial. So normally that's done by larger brands. So all those tend to be one-off, but an influencer can also be engaged to become a brand ambassador and talk about your products and services on a regular basis. So that might be pre-release access to products and services delivered by the brand ambassador, or it might be additional information or premium access accessible only via the brand ambassador. They're common ways of utilising an influencer over the longer term.
And what are the advantages for a business to use an influencer? What do they get out of it?
So really what they get out of it is access to a much larger audience via the person of influence. It's the combination of word of mouth through someone that they trust.
Well, trust would be a big issue, wouldn't it? If they do something wrong, if the influencer does something wrong or something controversial, that'll affect the brand associated with that influencer.
Absolutely. So things can go wrong, and you need to ensure that you're engaging an influencer who produces great content and who will respect your product. Although the most influential are those who tell it like it is, rather than always saying nice things about everything they try. So there's a trade-off there.
And what other things could potentially go wrong using an influencer?
You might be expecting the influencer to do something by a certain date, but because they're not your employee, if something else comes up, particularly someone paying them more, then your date might slip. Influencers can be very hard to pin down to a price. The managers earn their keep by pushing the price up. Other things that can go wrong, so you have to arrange up front regarding what information you're going to be provided with after the posts are completed. For example, the details of the reach of their posts. Because that's on their account, you can't see it if they don't provide the information. So definitely something that you need to think about before you engage them. And depending on the influencer, you may also be able to negotiate with regard to what the person is likely to say and proof their post before they publish it. You need to think about how you are going to interact with the posts of the influencer as well. So unless it's a takeover, they will post on their accounts, and therefore people who have something to say about your product or service will be commenting on their account. So it's wise to discuss this up front with the influencer and make sure you know exactly when they're going to post so that you can be ready, and comments can move really fast and you need to coordinate who's going to reply, how engaged you can be.
Well, that's a lot to think about, but how does it actually work? If a business is looking to engage with an influencer, how do they do it?
Yes, so as I mentioned earlier, there are platforms such as Tribe and Pickstar, which make it easy to pick and choose from influencers. However, I read an article just the other day that listed 54 different influencer platforms, so there's a lot out there. The other way to hire an influencer is to approach them directly, although the most popular will have a manager and direct you to them. You can also engage a digital marketing expert, such as Contact Point, to do the negotiation with the influencer or their manager on your behalf. Having a third party fulfilling this role will help you achieve the best deal because you don't have to worry about offending the influencer or getting emotionally involved in the discussion. We also know what to ask for when it comes to what digital assets they're going to produce for you and can assist you to reuse those assets as well, which is another thing you need to think about when you're engaging an influencer. Can you reshare that content? Can you use it on your own website, for example? So in short, influencers can have a great influence on your target market. If you can find an influencer who speaks to the right group of people that really need your product or service, then they can have a big impact on reaching that target market.
That was Heather Maloney, founder and CEO of Contact Point. This episode of Business Essentials Daily is produced by the team at SoundCartel. Thanks for listening. I'm Nicole Goodman. We'll bring you more Be Daily tomorrow. Follow @BE Daily Podcast across social media and head to bedaily.com.au for more from the Business Essentials Daily podcast. SoundCartel.